So day one of NBA free agency, pretty uneventful up to this point, both for the Sixers and for all teams around the league. Not a lot of signings made as I record this show, but we still have a lot to talk about with the Philadelphia 76ers. Kelly Oubre Jr. reportedly going to meet with multiple teams in NBA free agency, and some players the Sixers have been linked to as well as free agency gets underway. You're watching 76ers Now by Chat Sports. My name is Jake Chipper. Our show is presented by Prize Picks. You'll hear more about them coming up on the program. So let's start with the news on Kelly Oubre. So if you missed it, I posted a short on this, and we talked about this as well during our free agency live show. We'll be live again, by the way, for day two of free agency tomorrow on Wednesday. So be sure to lock us in. Hit that sub button for up to the minute Sixers coverage as it pertains to free agency and everything going on with the Philadelphia 76ers. So the Kelly Oubre news we have to talk about. According to reports, Kelly Oubre is going to meet with multiple teams during NBA free agency. That does include the Philadelphia 76ers. So this isn't all awful news. Oubre will meet with Philadelphia, but he will also meet with multiple teams, including the Indiana Pacers, the Portland Trail Blazers, and the Los Angeles Lakers. So clearly Kelly Oubre is garnering a bit of interest here from multiple teams across the NBA. It makes sense. You know, he's a player who I thought played pretty well for Philadelphia this year, and he was somebody that I want the Sixers to bring back. And I still want the Sixers to bring back Kelly Oubre. I hope they can find a way to come to terms on a good deal in the $8 to $10 million range to have Oubre back in Philadelphia. But there's a reason why other teams are interested at that wing spot. He showed this year, not in the playoffs so much, but in the regular season, he could hit his threes more consistently, about 36% in the regular season. Although that number was not quite as good in the playoffs, but he's a good defender. He can get downhill. He has athleticism. He's a good locker room guy as well. So there's a lot of reasons why I would like to keep Kelly Oubre in Philadelphia. And we talked a lot about in the lead up to free agency, if the Sixers had to keep one of Oubre or Quentin Grimes, I'd rather keep Oubre. I think he's a more consistent player. I think he's shown more in a Sixers uniform than Quentin Grimes has. And I think he's earned the right to be back here on another 2 to 3 year deal, again, worth about $8 to $10 million. Now, he does have his concerns. The three-point shooting in the playoffs, especially to start, was really, really poor, as it was for most of the Sixers team. But again, I think for the money you could have him at, it makes sense to bring him back on an affordable price. When you look at the Sixers team, they're still looking for more depth, right? And Philadelphia had a big depth issue last year. And so why would you let one of your guys go? It's not going to cost you all that much money, especially if there aren't a lot of replacement options for you to bring in somebody other than Kelly Oubre. Now, there are some players that Philadelphia has been linked to that we'll talk about in a second. But, with Oubre meeting with the Pacers, meeting with the Lakers, meeting with the Blazers, it's not good news, obviously, if you're Philadelphia, because if he has his other interests, that's only going to drive his price up. And so hopefully the Sixers go into this meeting with Kelly Oubre with an understanding of, look, we see that you are willing to test your market, that you're willing to see how much these other teams are willing to pay you. This is what we're willing to pay you, but we also want to keep you, right? So if he meets with Philadelphia first, you can say, we're willing to offer you this amount of money. You can go meet these other teams, but come back to us and let us know what these other teams are also offering you. Therefore, we can kind of determine from there if we would like to up our price if we have to and make a more competitive offer if we have to. Because I think Philadelphia really can't afford to let Kelly Oubre go. I'm not trying to talk him up like he's some all-star level player. He obviously has a lot of his own issues, right? Creating for himself offensively, got a little bit better this year. He is generally inefficient, although again, it got a little bit better this year. Is a good defender. The three-point shot, who knows what it's going to look like from year to year. But I think he's a good player, and Philadelphia should be interested in keeping him around. And so we'll see what ends up materializing with Kelly Oubre if he does end up staying or going. Hopefully, though, he does end up staying, but clearly, as I mentioned, he will have some competition in the open market. You let me know down in the comment section right now, how much would you pay Kelly Oubre to keep him around, or would you just let him walk? Simply, it's up to you. Love to hear your guys' opinion on the show, so let me know. Now, as I mentioned off the top, before we get to these free agents that Philadelphia has been linked to, our show is presented by Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. And look, I know we're all focused on NBA free agency right now, but the World Cup has been going on. It has been absolutely electric, and there's no better place to cash in and all the action than with our friends at Prize Picks. I love how easy it is to use the app. All you got to do is pick more or less on a few player stat projections. You can choose flex play. You can choose power play. depending on how you want to play the game. And you can win yourself some big-time money. And with their social feeds feature, if you aren't so confident in the picks you want to make, you can give me a follow on the app. My username is @JChip. But you can also follow your friends who might be on there. You can follow celebrities who are on the app as well and copy lineups in just one click. This is an example of what a lineup might look like on PrizePicks. This is one I had for today's World Cup action on Tuesday. 3-pick power play, $10 to win 40. Erling Haaland, more than a half goal. Kylian Mbappe, more than a half goal. And PrizePicks also always has these flash deals you can take advantage of. I love how they always are offering these discounted projections. Kylian Mbappe, more than 24.5 passes attempts. So that's an example of how easy it is to play PrizePicks. And right now, if you're a new user, we have a great offer for you. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup to receive $50 in lineups. Again, code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup to receive $50 in lineups at PrizePicks. That link will be down in the comment section and description of today's show. So let's get to the free agents that Philadelphia has been linked to. According to NBA insider Jake Fisher, the Sixers are among multiple teams targeting forwards with their $15 million mid-level exception. Those forwards include 4 players: John Collins, formerly of the LA Clippers; Dean Wade, formerly of the Cleveland Cavaliers; Rui Hachimura, formerly of the Lakers; and Sandro Mamukelashvili, formerly of the Toronto Raptors. We knew the Sixers had interest in John Collins and Dean Wade. They had already been linked to them previously. Now adding Rui Hachimura and Sandro Mamukelashvili to the list. So obviously, Philadelphia looking to add more forward depth. Does that mean they're maybe not confident they can bring back Kelly Oubre? Maybe this is a Kelly Oubre Jr. replacement. It's certainly possible. But all these players, yeah, they bring different skill sets, but I think all these players would be great signings for the Sixers. John Collins is an athletic four-man who can rebound the ball. He's active on the offensive glass. He shot 40% from 3 this year as well. And so he has a good offensive game. Remember him back in the day with the Atlanta Hawks. He gave a lot of problems to Philadelphia. Spent a couple of years in Utah, didn't really do a whole lot. Was good with the Clippers this year, though, and they've been linked to Collins for a little bit now. I still think this would be a great signing for Philadelphia to bring Collins in here. As for Dean Wade, obviously Philadelphia has some connections with Dean Wade, with Mike Gansey being the former GM of the Cleveland Cavaliers. He was there with Dean Wade for quite a while. The numbers won't blow you away. You might look at his counting stats, about 6 points per game, and be like, is this really a guy you want to give the mid-level exception to, $15 million? But he's such a good connecting piece and a winning basketball player. Ask any Cavs fan, they will tell you that. A really good defender and a very versatile defender. That's the advantage he has over John Collins. He did a great job guarding Jalen Brunson, really as good as you could ask for in the playoffs for Cleveland. He's a good catch-and-shoot three-point shooter. Not going to do a whole lot other than that offensively, but the stuff he brings defensively, he had a great on-off plus-minus with Cleveland. They were a lot better with Dean Wade on the floor than when he left. They really fell off when Dean Wade was not on the floor. And again, the defensive versatility, the offense he brings, a winning player. And the Sixers, again, have such a need for a true power forward. Dean Wade could certainly be that, whether he starts or comes off the bench, but I imagine you probably would start him. Now, a couple guys we haven't talked about quite as much. Rui Hachimura, formerly of the Lakers, another great shooter at the power forward spot with good size who can rebound the basketball. Again, shot like 40% from 3 this year for the Lakers. He's garnering a large market and a lot of interest from a lot of other teams. The Spurs have been rumored to be in on Rui Hachimura. Probably the best player on this list of 4 names that Philadelphia is interested in. I'll be curious to see where his market goes. I feel like he could get more than the $15 million mid-level exception, but if that is the range, Philadelphia should be all over this for sure. Again, with the Lakers, a good offensive game. He has size. He can finish inside. He can get up and dunk the ball. Kind of surprisingly, you might not expect that of him all the time, but is, I think, more athletic than he gets credit for. Defensively, he's just fine. I wouldn't say anything special. I wouldn't say anything terrible either, but I think the best offensive player here, the best all-around player here, Rui Hachimura, named to watch. And then Sandro Mamukelashvili, a player that a lot of fans might not be familiar with, formerly of the Toronto Raptors, but had a really good year for Toronto, around 12 points, 6 rebounds a night. He's kind of more of like he can play a little bit of the 5, but, often more of the times than not, I think wants to play the true 4. He can really shoot the ball as your stretch big. He can rebound. Another really winning kind of player. But a lot of Raptors fans also want to keep around all the analytics. And I'm not a huge analytics guy, but when you take, the actual game and pair it with the analytics, that's you can kind of see the full picture come together here with Sandro. He's a phenomenal player, a really good role player as well, who again could start or come off the bench for Philadelphia, and another really good option at that 4 spot who can score, he can rebound, he can pass a little bit as well, a good defender. Not a lot he doesn't do well. Not a lot he does like phenomenally, but again, another really solid player. So that's 4 names Philadelphia has been linked to: John Collins, Dean Wade, Rui Hachimura, Sandro Mamukelashvili. They could all sign heading into maybe even tonight in free agency on Tuesday night. If the Sixers do make a signing here on Tuesday night, of course, we'll have a video for you guys, or heading into Wednesday as well. Anytime there's any news, we always keep you guys updated. So that's why you got to hit that subscribe button and lock us in. Again, we'll be live again tomorrow on Wednesday for some more free agency talk. It was a blast hanging out with all you guys here. If you were on the live stream, type me down in the comment section. Let me know. And also let me know of those 4 names we talked about: John Collins, Dean Wade, Rui Hachimura, Sandro Mamukelashvili. Let me know which of those 4 you would rather sign. With that, we're going to sign off here on today's show. We're back at it tomorrow in the studio. Again, maybe tonight if another move is made. So be sure that sub button, lock us in, and hope the Sixers make a move here at some point soon.